And welcome to Soccer as We Like It, the Man United edition. Today we have a preview of the big game between Tottenham and Manchester United, North versus South, Jose versus Ole, and representing Spurs from London is Ian, and representing United in the red corner is Josh in United States. Right, as we all know, this is a big game coming up on Sunday, second versus sixth. I'm gonna start with Ian first. Ian, so far so good. I mean, you're still in the top. You're still in a position to get to the Europa League or whatever position you can still get into. What's your take so far this season?
Well, disappointing overall. I think before the season started, I really expected Tottenham to be in the top four throughout the whole season. And given that Jose was there was there for a good amount of last season, you'd have thought, he would have been ready to have a go. I think when he joined, he actually said, we can't win the title this season. I mean, Liverpool was so far ahead at that point, I think already, but we can next season. And they were top at Christmas after beating Arsenal. I think we beat Arsenal, went top, and it's all gone south since then. So it's been disappointing overall that we've not challenged in the top four, and now we're in danger of not making that at all. And looking back, I think a big turning point was when we was 3 goals up against West Ham. And as you probably remember, it went on to be
remember that. When Bell missed a chance to make it 4-0, I think it was.
That's right. He did. And I don't know, from then, we've been really inconsistent. Went a long time without winning, I think a whole month without winning. And then somehow, managed to string a few wins together. And even though we've been inconsistent, we're still in with a chance of making it. But it's anybody's guess. I mean, Liverpool at the moment are losing, so that may help if they go on to draw or lose today. But then Tottenham have got to follow it up and beat teams like Man United, because apart from the time we did beat you earlier in the season, we've not really had any success against the top sides. I think you name all the top 6, and I don't think we've had many wins out of the top. So disappointing overall, but I'd rather judge at the end of the season. Let's see where we are at the end of the season, because in 2 weeks' time, there's a possibility there could be a trophy in the cabinet, albeit a slim chance.
That might be. You're in the League Cup final against City. I'll be supporting Spurs, as you know, my family Spurs.
I'm sure
he knows me. He knows that. You are currently on 49 points, 30 games on 49 points in 6th position. You're only 3 points behind West Ham in 4th. Only 3 points. And 2 behind Chelsea, who are in 5th. And them 2 teams are not the most consistent, I mean, give or take. So you still are in a good chance, mate.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think it's going to come down to, tomorrow. They can't afford to lose tomorrow.
Right.
And then, the running's not too bad, the rest of the season. We've got a few home games. We've got Southampton to play at home. I think even Aston Villa, I think, may still come to Tottenham.
Right.
We've got to play Leicester. So, on paper, they're winnable games.
Exactly. It's always looking good on paper. It's on the day, mate. You see United's journey. We're like up and down, mate.
Yeah. Well, I think United have had a great season. At the start of the season, I thought either Lampard or Solskjaer will get sacked at some point, or maybe both. And it was Lampard. But United, I think, have had a good season all in all. I mean, they're still firing away in the Europa League, and I hope that you win that ahead of Arsenal.
We need a trophy, mate. United need a trophy, mate.
Barely pulling out wins over Granada or whatever, who the last one that we paid was. I mean,
it was terrible, mate. It was a good result, but the performance was
it wasn't exactly what you call inspiring. So
we have this big game. Yeah, we have this big game on Sunday tomorrow. Jose versus Ole. Ian, what are you perceiving is going to happen there? Do you see Spurs currently beating United, or you think United can beat Spurs at home? Considering you hammered us 6-1 early in the season. I still have flashbacks of that game, mate. It was terrible.
Me too.
Yeah, I think, looking back, it was obviously a bit of a freak result. There's been some funny results in the whole Premier League this season. Villa beating Liverpool 7-1 or 7-2 or whatever it was. West Brom last week beating Chelsea 5-2. There's been some crazy results. So I think you can probably put that down as one of them. And I remember the day well, Tim, because that was the day I did the London Marathon. So I did the marathon in the morning and then watched Spurs against Man United in the afternoon. It was one of the greatest days of my year. But yeah, it was a spectacular win. But since then, well, they've only really gone south. They beat Arsenal, as I said, but since that draw with West Ham, something changed in the psyche of the club.
Yeah.
So for tomorrow, I've had a good think about it before this call, and I don't actually see United coming there and winning. But at the same time, I'm not sure if Tottenham have got enough to actually win the game. Right. So I'm probably going to sit on the fence and think it's going to be a draw, which isn't going to do Tottenham any favours, really. Right. 1 point, they really need 3.
Right.
But both teams on their day are capable of beating their opposition by a good few goals. So I've just got to hope that Jose gives an attacking side, because I think, for any home game we play, regardless of the opposition, should play your strongest attacking side. Spurs have
That's what it should be, mate.
They've got some great firepower.
Son, Bell, Harry Kane. Any team would be scared of those 3, just the 3 of them in any lineup. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. Even our defense, as bad as our defense is, I'm worried they can't even cope tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, but it could go either way. Either team could win, or, as I say, I think most likely, in my opinion, it's going to be a draw. I really hope Spurs can win. It's not like I don't like Man United or anything. We just need the points against anybody.
At this point,
I'm not one of these supporters that's always hated Man U because we've been successful.
No, I've known Ian over 20 years. He's not one of those who just He doesn't like Arsenal. We know that fact.
Well, there are big North London rivals, but no, I've always admired Man United as a club, and what Fergie done over the years. I mean, for anyone that says they don't like Sir Alex Ferguson, that's because he wasn't managing their club. So, that's that. Right. And I've been to countless Spurs v Man United games over the years. Yep. I've been to Old Trafford and seen Tottenham up there a couple of times, and I was at the infamous game, or infamous from a Spurs perspective, when Tottenham were 3-0 up at half time and then went on to lose 5-3. Yeah. So I've seen a few dark days. I've seen some hammerings by the Fergie's Man United, and I think the last time I saw the 2 clubs play was Tottenham's last match at White Hart Lane, Tim. Before they knocked the stadium down, so 2017.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Well, can you see what I've got here?
I can see that, mate.
This is the scarf to commemorate that occasion.
Right.
All right. So
I thought one of these was supposed to be in the post for me, mate.
This is the scarf that I'm sending you. Okay.
I'll wait, mate.
I mislaid it because I had it like this is what I was meant to give you a couple of years ago when you was over in London.
Right.
So I know you've got a family connection to Spurs.
Yes.
So
my whole family Spurs.
Yeah. This is a scarf that I got on the day. I've got one myself as well. So I'll send that to you along with some programs as well.
Please do that. I'll add it. I'll take a picture when I hang it on the wall of scarves on that side. Right, yep. Josh. Tomorrow's game. What do you see happening tomorrow? Jose versus Ole.
Oof. Like Ian said, it really could go either way. It's also just to kind of reflect on what was being said before. At the beginning of the season, I remember thinking, man, Tottenham looks like a champion.
Exactly. We both said it during the early time, like Spurs can win. The team.
The thing was, it was really gloomy as a Manchester United fan, because you remember we started off the season
3 in a row, mate.
Oh, just and then we're looking, and I remember Son was just scoring some ridiculous goals.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, man, I hate to say this, but Jose has really got his side firing on all cylinders, man. If they keep up like this, they're title contenders. And then, like you said, something just happened, and I don't know, they just kind of lost the magic. So. And haven't really found a way to regain it just yet. So now, that being said, Manchester United has been a bit of a roller coaster this season. Again, a few months back, we were riding on high, saying, "Oh man, like Ola's at the wheel," and like here we are doing this kind of stuff, and then
I think the wheels came off, mate, in January.
The wheels definitely came off. We started going and losing to Sheffield and all of these other folks, and we kind of lost a bit as well. So no, it's really. But the thing about what I feel like's happened this season with United is that we go and we play well against good teams and play badly against not as good teams. So I mean, like, look, I mean, like against Man City, everyone was writing us off and stuff, and then we roll in there with a solid victory, you know.
Great result.
And so I don't know. I feel like there's something almost in the mentality of the players that it's like, oh, well, whenever we're playing what we consider to be a more quality side, they actually show up. Whereas then when they're playing somebody that's not considered to be as quality a side, I don't know what happens if their mind isn't there or if they're not motivated, but they just shit the bed. So I don't know. I'm of the opinion, I think that Tottenham, even though they're not in the top 4 right now, is, especially just with the presence of Jose, is something that I think is going to focus the players, that they're going to treat this match as something that's not just another run-of-the-mill match. This is something where we really need to show up with our A game. We need to make a statement. So I'd like to believe that that we're going to have a good side that shows up tomorrow, and I can see us going and pulling out the victory. Again, I don't think it's going to be a definitive one, but I could definitely see us pulling out like a 2-1 win.
Right. I mean, we've all seen it. I mean, it's to win, as Ian knows, to win titles is just all about consistency.
Which is the one thing we don't have.
Isn't that we don't? We really don't. We've not been consistent. I mean, I told a lot of fans in January, United are topping the table, but this squad is not big enough to carry that sustainability through the season. City have a bigger squad, but Tim, you're being negative. Okay, I've been there. I've been down this rodeo before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, look what happened as soon as Pogba dropped out of the side for a while.
Game over. Lights out, mate.
Right.
So I mean,
we lost Kane. We lost Kane again for a bit, which we seem to do every single season. Fortunately, he comes back strong and carries on where he left off, scoring goals. So he's our hope again tomorrow. Obviously, he'll be the first name on the team sheet. But it's going to be who's around him, whether he's going to go with Vinicius, who's been in the last couple of games, or, I have a feeling that he won't start Bale, and that's disappointing. I think someone of his talent, and if he's fit, I don't know. As supporters, we don't know what goes on the training ground or why they make their reasons for their selections, but the talent that he is. But that said, when we played against Newcastle last week, he came on with 5 or 10 minutes to go, and his first touch was a free kick just outside the area. You think, here we go, this is a chance here. We could win the game, and it went blazing over the bar. And I thought to myself, did he do it on purpose? It was so bad. And if he's got some axe to grind with Jose for doing all this travelling and going to away games and only getting 5 minutes, is he doing it on purpose? It was a terrible shot. One of those roasted jobs.
Yeah.
But I hope he's trained well. I hope that they've all trained well and there's a bit more harmony at the club than there seems to have been lately. I mean, there must be something going on there, some bad eggs that are leaking stuff to the press. And they need to weed those out, find out who they are, and just have a match day squad that's together and wants to win.
Right.
For the manager, for the club, for the supporters, and everything.
So,
Ian, when you see, sorry, Josh, Ian, when you see Poch doing what he's doing at PSG, what do you think? Do you think right choice by Spurs, not a right choice? What's your take?
Well, I think if you look at the year that Pochettino got sacked and the months that led up to it, we'd really gone off the rails. Had some terrible results, not just the 7-2 to Bayern Munich, but I don't think we'd won in the league away from home for 5 or 6 months or something like that. And
wow.
Yeah, during the early part of Pochettino's reign, we were going everywhere and winning everywhere.
You went to Champions League final, mate.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, that was fantastic to get there, but they probably had no right to be there. We scraped through against City. And Ajax, incredible win at Ajax. I mean, there were famous wins, but to make it the final was incredible. And
you outplayed, you outplayed Liverpool that day. You were the better team, mate.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we lost and we didn't score a goal. The big regret for me is that we didn't even score a goal. We didn't have a moment to celebrate scoring a goal in the Champions League final. So that was disappointing. But Pochettino's reign in overall was fantastic, but in the last 6 or 7 months, something again had happened, and unfortunately he went. One day I think he could be back. I mean, he's even said that himself.
Wow.
And I wish him every success, as most Spurs fans do, at PSG. Love to see them go on and win the Champions League.
Oh wow.
But they've had a couple of funny results in League One, haven't they, in France?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, what a result the other night. So hopefully
Tell me
they
about
can
it,
put
mate.
away. And I'd love to see him beat Man City, of course, and I'm sure you would too.
Oh, definitely, mate. We would love that. We would love that.
But yeah, no, I do miss the Pochettino era. I mean, we had to, and he'd always play an attacking side. There was none of this being really
Exactly.
conservative.
How different are the styles? We all know Jose because Jose came to United, and he was like, next, moving on swiftly, and he's at Spurs. Are you enjoying? Are Spurs fans enjoying this brand of football from Jose?
Well, I think luckily for Jose, there's been no fans in the stadium because they would have been going nuts. Myself included, Josh, because I'm a season ticket holder at Tottenham.
Okay.
So I've been going to Tottenham since I was 8 years old, and that's a long time. That's 43 years. And yeah, I think it's fine if you having those kind of performances where it's not that entertaining, but you're winning, then the fans put up with it.
Right.
However, if you're really playing some turgid stuff and drawing or losing, that's when the fans be on your back. And I think they would have been booed off, many times over the course of the season.
Wow.
But then it only takes one great result to have the fans back on your side. I mean, you know what it's like in this day and age where you have anything that can be deemed a negative result, even a 2-2 draw at Newcastle last week. Okay, and then supporters on social media will treat that as if we've been beaten 5-0 up there.
Yeah, it's really bad these days.
I was gonna say, Tim, one of these days I'd like to. I want to go and like catalog the comments on our WhatsApp group over the course of the season, because it's like honestly, so sometimes I was like, man, we're like a bunch of little girls. We win one thing, and everyone is like going and raising the roof, like, oh man, we're gonna win the title. The very next thing, again, we'll have like a draw against somebody, and everyone's like, we gotta fire Solskjaer. He's got to, and I'm like, we were just last week talking about winning the title.
Yeah. Yeah,
it still comes down to that inconsistency of even though United are second. I think that second position is masking a lot of problems and underlying issues, because when you see position second, say, "Oh yeah, United doing well." Honestly, the football is not great. It's poor, mate. But we're just, whereby you just getting, like Ian said, just getting the results. All right, 3 points, and you move on. But the football is not the best. It's people are saying they can't see any difference between what Ole is giving out now, what Jose and Louis van Gaal handed out earlier. There's no difference. The difference is they're in a higher position. Jose took us to second position. Ole is in second position now, but the football is no different.
Yeah.
Jose won trophies. Van Gaal won a trophy. This guy hasn't won a trophy. He even had the audacity to say, "Oh, it's not about winning trophies." How could he say that? How could he say that when he played in an era where it was all trophies for him? So a lot of fans were like, is he well? But I think he just says things either to take the pressure off the board by saying top. It's really poor from him. So Josh, this game tomorrow, the significance. I mean, City lost today. It doesn't make a big difference. I mean, City need to lose 5 games if there's any chance. Right. What's your thoughts?
So no, I mean, again, like I said, is that I think it is going to be a really interesting way to go and compare the two managers, right? As we go in here, and the thing that does worry me is, and I've mentioned this on many of our talks or thing, is that obviously, grew up a United fan, love Ole as a player to death and stuff. I don't think he's a bad manager, but we've talked about that he doesn't really seem to be able to adjust in the middle of a game his tactics.
Exactly.
Whereas I feel Jose definitely has the edge there. And that's the thing that worries me, is that Jose might be better equipped to go make the right subs, make the right substitutions to go and change things, whereas Ole will not, despite maybe even us having the better team. That I do feel that if you put the two head to head, Jose can probably outmanage Ole.
I think he would.
And so, but I think that this is also, I think, going to be a good test for Ole, because again, like you said, is that, I mean, Ole is where he is. I mean, like, he had some decent managerial success prior to this, but were it not his reputation at the club, he never would have been offered the position, right? I mean,
that's right. Good point.
And the thing about it is that I think as a manager, he also, while he's criticized, he isn't given as much pressure as somebody who wasn't a former United player.
There you
right?
go, mate. Exactly the point.
And so, but again, that can only last for so long. And at a certain point, he has got to show that he can compete amongst the big boys of all the managers. And I mean, who better to show that against than Jose Mourinho? So what I would really like to, I mean, I don't see it happening, but what I would really like to see happen is him go and, actively manage that game, especially if something does seem to be moving against us, make the right changes to say, hey, you know what, you're not the only special one that's here.
But does he?
Well,
Does he have,
sometimes supporters sing to Jose, "You're not special anymore."
You're kidding me, mate. Really?
No. Yeah. Well, not Spurs fans, but opposing fans in the last few years. Right. I think even before he went to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's had a few issues. People forget he got sacked at Chelsea twice. Even winning three league titles on the two chances he had at Chelsea, he got fired twice. I mean, the Real Madrid one, I don't know if he got fired or he left. He left Inter Milan. I think his best was Porto. He left after delivering the Champions League. But since he's come to England, he's done great in England. But Chelsea standards, I don't know what Chelsea require these days. They sack anybody. So
I've always said to Chelsea fans that they haven't really won anything in the last 40 years. They've bought lots of trophies, but they haven't won them. Yeah. And that's going the same for City as well. Wind back the clock 10 or 15 years. Man City were languishing in the second division.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We know that it was so bad, mate. They got relegated.
All their success has just been banked, with Chelsea and Man City, they've bought their trophies. And that's why it's more difficult to win trophies nowadays. And anyone that does, it's a major, ahead of Chelsea and Man City, it's a major achievement. Yeah. So if Tottenham can pull it off in 2 weeks, I mean, I think it'd be spectacular, really. The fact that if you can beat them. And I hope, obviously, Man City are going to win the league, but there's a chance that that's all they might win. If another team has their day in their respective cup matches they've got to play, then they might end up with the title.
I think Spurs have an opportunity to beat City in the League Cup final. I think most teams are psychologically scared. So as soon as City score, they're kind of like, oh, you know what, we lost this game. That fear factor United used to have back in the 90s. If teams go and play City now, they're like, oh, okay, they're going to beat us. But if Spurs go there at Wembley and say, you know what, we're going to fight this game out, they could beat City. City, if you attack City can be beaten. City can be beaten.
Oh yeah. Well, Manchester United proved it the other week.
We showed that, right?
Yeah.
So they're not invincible. I just don't want them winning on quadruple or the treble. You know what I mean? I just don't want them to do that.
We'll do our best to stop them winning all four anyway.
Yes. We will hope you're going to be the first one up against City. Then we're going to see if Borussia Dortmund could overturn the one last week in Europe. If they could do that, then hey, they're out of it. FA Cup.
That's why I think, going back to tomorrow's game, why Tottenham need to get a positive result. If it's not a win, then at least perform well and draw, because we need some confidence going into that cup final, which is 2 weeks tomorrow. It's not far away. Man City have lost today. Maybe they're just taking their eye off the ball. They're getting complacent that they've won the title, whatever. So I wouldn't read too much into their defeat today. But yeah, the final. I'll be nervous, but I just wish I could be there. I mean, it's looking like there's going to be about 8,000 supporters there.
How are they picking the fans? Are they like doing a lottery?
Well, they've not come out with the detail yet, but they've said that some of the supporters are going to be from the Wembley area, so Brent Borough.
Right.
But it looks like each club is probably only going to get a couple of thousand tickets allocated each, and they will probably go to staff members or family members of the players. So I can't see very many. Probably a matter of hundreds will go to the supporters.
Wow.
So next to no chance. So just have to watch it on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Josh. Yeah, go on. Finish it.
And yeah, it would have been great to have gone to the game tomorrow. Obviously would have been there if supporters were allowed in.
Yeah. Just real quick, how are vaccinations progressing there? Are we It seems,
Yeah,
what I'm reading, it seems like UK is going along at a pretty good clip, which is exciting.
yeah, it is.
I obviously, I like anyone want to see the stadiums open back up as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, it's going great. I think I had my first one on March the 11th. I'm having my second one on May the 20th. So I think most adults have now had the first vaccination.
Right.
And you know,
my mom's had my first one. I think her second one is in 2 weeks' time, because she's on the
yeah,
elderly old age side, so they're trying to get them out quicker.
Yeah, no, it's going great. And as for getting supporters back to in the stadiums, you know, they're having what they call test events. So the League Cup final is one of them. So they're expecting about 8,000 out of 90,000 at Wembley Stadium for that.
That's a big
and I
loss,
think the same for one of the FA Cup semi-finals, which I think is the Southampton and Leicester one. So there's going to be, you know, 10,000 at that. And then, yeah, we'll just have to see how they go. And by the time we get back to the next season in August, hopefully that will be capacity again.
Josh, Ole has said recently, oh, we miss the fans. We miss the fans. We miss the fans. Every team has missed the fans. Is that an excuse? Do you think Ole is using that as an excuse for United's poor home form?
I do, to a certain extent. Like I said, I mean, well, especially again, like we talked about, given the comments that Ole has made the past few weeks, his standing with me has definitely gone down and stuff. Because I do feel that there is a bit of kind of blame shifting where he's just worried about his job rather than, you know, all of this kind of stuff. So now that being said, I think when you talk about the fan influence, I think that is greater at Old Trafford than it is at other places. You know, not to take anything away from any other stadiums, but I mean, I don't know that you can really compare, you know, Stretford End and, you know, these kinds of things compared to other maybe smaller stadiums. I mean, like, as we know, I mean, I've never actually been to a game myself, but you have. I mean, those fans in Old Trafford, they can make a difference. And so, I mean, I think there is something to be said that once we get fans back, that could potentially be good for, you know, maybe a few points, several points during the season, simply because of the fans getting the players to go and do things that they might not otherwise do. But again, at the end of the day, that's not an excuse, because like you said, nobody has the fans right now. Exactly. So I don't think that any manager at this point should ever be going and saying, oh, well, it's really a loss to be having the fans. Well, no, duh. Like, yeah, thanks, Einstein.
I think some of them fans will be booing the way some United's home games have been. So that's talking nonsense, to be honest.
Although honestly, I think that would be a positive as well, because sometimes the players need to be booed.
Yes.
Exactly what I was saying about Tottenham. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wish they could hear my boos sometimes.
Ian, what do you think? Do you think that has made it? Do you think that has impacted a lot of teams like Spurs in the new stadium, no fans, and the team struggles for that extra boost?
Yeah, I think without question. But I think where all players different, you know, some players might have played with a bit more freedom, knowing they're not going to get the fans on their back, right? I think,
yes,
you know, if you take West Ham for an example, you know, they've this season they've had an amazing season and possibly will finish in the top 4 or 5. But in previous seasons, you know, with the fans on their back, they've never been playing this well consistently. So I think, yeah, I think with some players that they probably revelled in not having the threat of being abused from the stands, whereas others probably need it, you know, to feed off it. You know, they're showmen. You know, they're entertainers, and they like feeding off the crowd.
Right.
So I think, yeah, some players would have liked it and others wouldn't. But end of the day, it's the same for every single club in the league. In the league, you know, we've all had to play games behind closed doors. There was a couple of matches early in the season where they allowed 2,000 or 3,000 in, but
they wouldn't
make a great deal of difference. And that only went on for about a month or so before the lockdown started again.
Right. I was hearing the last 2 games of the season, pending on how the trade is seen in England, how they said the last 2 games might have fans back in. How much have they confirmed that yet, or they're still looking at it?
They're still looking at it because originally it was only going to be for the last game of the season, and that would be unfair because, you know, there'll be no visiting fans for the away team. And so having gone the whole season with no fans in the stadium, for then suddenly the 10 teams that are at home to have their fans supporting them on the last game of the season wouldn't have been fair. So I think they either have to scrap the idea altogether and just have, no fans as it's been throughout most of the season.
Wow.
Or then allow, maybe the second from last game, so that each team has their home fans for their last home game of the season.
That would make sense.
Which would hopefully mean that I'd be able to go to our game. I think our last home game is Villa, I think. I know we play Leicester away on the last day.
That might be a crucial game, mate.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think
Leicester inconsistent though. Leicester are like on a good day.
Yeah, they're beatable as well, I think. But positions second down to 6th, 7th, 8th will probably go down to the last day of the season. It really be an exciting end. But I'd love to be at Tottenham's last home game. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. But they've made no formal announcement about it so far.
Right. You see, what a lot of fans said I should ask you is like, with your front three of Son, Bale, and Harry Kane against United's Lindelof and Maguire, do you think that forward line can unsettle United's defense tomorrow?
I think they can, yeah. And I think they can unsettle any defence on their day. But it's how Jose sets them up, and indeed whether he even plays them. With Son's only just returned from injury, so...
Oh, right. How long's he been out? Was he out for a while?
Yeah, he had a hamstring strain, but fortunately not a bad one.
Right.
But he did come on against Newcastle last week. So he's got some minutes under his belt, which might mean that he'll start tomorrow. But again, you just don't know.
Right.
And I'm certain that Bale won't start.
Wow.
I'm certain that he won't. And
not Luka Modric. What's the other guy?
It'll be great if we can get Luka Modric back for tomorrow. Yeah.
No, the guy who plays. I forgot his name. Black guy. He normally plays in center role when Harry Kane's not there.
Lucas Moura.
Moura, yes.
Yeah, I mean he's been great. I think he's had a great second half of the season, and it looks like he's battling for every single ball. He's really enthusiastic, and he scored a few goals as well. So. Yeah, he could well start. But, recently he started Vinicius alongside Kane. So we'll see if he goes with that. But it's really difficult. I mean, back in the day, Tim, we always used to be able to, the starting 11 would be consistent pretty much throughout the whole season.
Yes.
But now it changes so much. And with our defence, that changes every single week. And you're never going to have a strong defence if that's changing every single week.
Right.
But
Dele Alli, what's the situation, Dele Alli? Is he leaving,
it's one
staying?
of those things where, as supporters, you don't really know what goes on at the training ground. I mean, everyone, he was injured for a long time. And even when he was injured, there were supporters on social media saying, you need to play Dele Alli. Well, that's how daft it becomes. He's injured and they're still clamouring to get him on the pitch. So you really can't make it up.
Right.
But then he come back, and there's obviously been some issues, and I think Jose said a few times that he's a lazy trainer, and again,
he really knows how to throw under the bus, doesn't he?
Yeah, they see things at the training ground that we don't.
Right.
So we can only guess why he doesn't play him. And
right.
Again, more than likely he will be on the bench. I'm certain that Dele will be on the bench, and Bale. Moura might start.
Right.
Vinicius, I reckon, could start again.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
But he might be impressing in training,
right.
and that's why he's getting the starting place. But when you look at Tottenham's bench for every game, I mean, most of those players would get in the first team of other Premier League clubs.
It's very true.
Fantastic, and that's why they seem to be deemed to be underachieving, given that they're sixth, and the way they imploded in the Europa League a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
That was disastrous, because that's, as you know, that's another.
I don't think I remember a Spurs taking a Jose team taking a 2-0 lead away and being overturned. That is not like. But I saw his press conference, like, oh wow, he doesn't hold back. He says yes, it is, mate.
Yeah.
Josh.
Well, that's it. Some players will see it as a kick up the backside, but others will take it the other way and thinking, I'm not playing for him again. I'm not playing for the badge again.
Social media.
Yeah. That's why they quickly need to find out who these players are.
Right.
And have a match day squad that wants to play for the shirt and win, regardless who the manager is.
Exactly.
They just need to. These
Josh,
players have now got a chance to get in the manager's plans for the League Cup final. Wembley Cup final. So it's in every player's interest to put in performances tomorrow and next week ahead of the cup final to get their place. So which could work in our favour tomorrow.
That'll work. Josh, as you know, United's current defense is, as you know, if they play against Song, Harry Kane, and Bell, or Lukamora, do you see United? I mean, all they play the back six these days. That's why we don't even get the ball to the front three. Do you see that United defense holding out?
Again, I definitely don't see us getting a clean sheet. Absolutely not. There's no
Set
way.
pieces.
Well, that was exactly what I was about to see. I mean, like at some point that ball's going to get swung in from a set piece, and there's going to be a guy unmarked on the backside with the free header, and there you go. I mean,
Harry Kane, that'll be
exactly my point.
I mean, it's almost like it happens so regularly now. You almost wonder whether they're actually training, like instead of how to defend it.
That's what we've been saying.
Like
same result, same game, same poor decisions defensively, different games. Like going to watch a movie in a different location, but it's the same movie.
Yeah, it's like, oh, guys, here's a set piece. Here's our chance to give up a goal.
And United fans are like,
yeah. So no, I know. But the thing is like, but then again, going back to the inconsistency, we have had some matches in which the defense has been solid. Yeah. And so, it's not like they're not capable. They're just not doing it a lot of times. And so, but like I mentioned before, it does seem that some of these players have a bit more of a big match mentality, such that when they're playing against better teams, it's like, oh, well, now I'm going to stay focused. And so I could see them actually.
Tomorrow is a big match.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that I still think that we go and we give up a stupid goal, probably off of a set piece at a point. But I think we could potentially go and limit it to just one. And if we can go and slide into ourselves, then we'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think both teams will score.
I see 1-1 draw. I see 1-1.
And you think 1-1? Yeah, I do see him as well. Yeah,
Josh,
what I don't know. Well, if anything, I would expect us to. We actually go and give up the first goal.
As usual.
That tends to be our standard operating procedure. But then I could see us going, and then the guys being like, okay, we actually need to do something here, and then going and pulling it back. So
yeah, and Tottenham do concede a lot of late goals. I think the most in the Premier League, in fact.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, from winning possessions, even against Newcastle last week. Last 5 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, very frustrating, and that's why. We've gone 1 or 2 goals up in some games and had chances to kill it off. As you mentioned earlier, the West Ham game, we were 3-0 up, a chance to make it 4, which would have surely been game over.
Yep.
And they blew it. And West Ham come back. And there's been other occasions as well where we've conceded late equalisers. So for Tottenham to win tomorrow, they'll probably need, minimum of 2 goals, possibly 3.
Right.
And that's why I think... Yeah, a draw, which on the face of it is going to be disappointing because it's not going to help our cause.
It's not going to help you guys because you're 2 points behind Chelsea, 3 behind West Ham. You need 3 points. But
what I think he needs to do, Tim, tomorrow is play our team that he wants to compete against City in the cup final, and also play the same team next week in a league match, because they need a consistent team gelling before that showpiece final. And it is. So I know it's only the League Cup, but for Tottenham, they've only won 2 League Cups in the last 30 years, and that's it.
That long?
Well, the FA Cup in 1991, which is 30 years ago now.
You're kidding me, mate.
They won the League Cup.
The last one with Gaza.
Yeah, that's right.
What? That long ago? Damn.
Yeah. Well, since then, I think that they've lost 6 or 7 consecutive FA Cup semi-finals.
Ouch.
So it's a horrendous run in the FA Cup. And they just won the League Cup in 1999 and 2008.
Wow.
So if we can at least get that trophy in the cabinet, it would,
I always say trophy it brings a winning mentality collectively. Yeah. Collectively, it brings that mentality like, we've won and we want more. You know what I mean? Yeah. Forget this crowd in the stadium. You still have that collectiveness of this is what we achieved as a team.
Yeah, well, we hoped for that. You know, we won it in 2008 against Chelsea, the League Cup. And then that's what you think. You think, okay, we've won that now. Let's go on, use it as a bit of a springboard for success. Well, the new season starts, and within 5 matches, one day Ramos is sacked. You know, because we're in the bottom 4 or 5.
Wow.
And then, as you'll probably remember, Harry Redknapp took over, and we got to the League Cup final again, and lost to Manchester penalties.
I remember that one
in 2009. I was at that game as well. So I went to both those cup finals. I went to the one against Chelsea in 2015. So Mourinho was managing them, and we lost that 2-0.
That's Mourinho's favorite trophy, though. That's
Mourinho's
favorite trophy, the League Cup.
So yeah, and I'm sure he'd love to put one over on Pep in a cup final and bring a long-awaited trophy to Tottenham, even if he's not entirely happy at the club at the moment from a personal, you know, for the fact that he has won trophies wherever he's gone.
Right.
You know, to bring a trophy to Tottenham,
that would be great. That'd be great. I hope he does. Yeah. I actually hope he does. We'll be supporting Spurs, and I personally will be anyway because my family's all Spurs.
I'm sure you will. Yeah.
I just cannot stand the City after they bought everything they can buy. Josh, so you're sitting on the fence. You're thinking United can get 3 points, considering that defense only turns out for. This is a big game.
You know me is that I with United I do like to err on the side of optimism. You know, I you know.
Don't we all?
Well, we've got to counter Bims, right? He provides enough negativity for everyone. So
every club has one of those.
Yes. There's this guy that we have, and every time we say anything positive about it, he's like, "What are you talking about? Manchester United are shit." And it's like, are you a supporter? Like.
I know he tells it as it is, but you see, sometimes it comes to the forefront. Like, you know what, we are really, but it is what everyone. It's all about respect each other's opinion. You're gonna have United fans who still think today after the City defeat. I saw some guys on Instagram saying United have a chance to win the title. Like, what world do you live in?
No,
come on. You need City to lose 5 games. I can't see 5 consecutive defeats in the league title.
So anyways, you need to have that balance, and Bims provides that. But no, I do see, I'm, you know, if I had to go put anything out there, I do think I could see us getting a 2-1 win. Like I said, conceding early, but then fighting back, which we have done several times this season. And again, I think whenever we're playing sides that we actually have some respect for, like Tottenham, and especially against Jose, I do think that there's going to be some extra motivation for those guys to actually, you know, put together a good performance and a victory.
All right, cool. So Ian, you've said you predict a draw.
I do predict a draw. I think the one thing that can work in Tottenham's favour is those players that may now be looking ahead to the League Cup final and trying to secure their place in that starting lineup. So that really could work in our favour if they're all switched on to that, put in a performance, and get their name in the frame. We know there's going to be 4 or 5 players that are, you know, that will be starting. You know, Lloris and Kane and Son. That will start unless they get injured between now and then. Yeah. But you know, there's 5 or 6 other places which aren't concrete, and so if they can put in a performance tomorrow, great. If we can get the 3 points, and so I'm not overly confident about it. But it's Spurs, so anything can happen, folks. All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh. You're saying United could sneak a 2-1 win. You're saying United will concede first, but you're hoping optimistically, as a United fan, they'll go snatch a 3-1 or 3 points.
What I also think is again that loss earlier in this season is also seared in my mind, and I hope I hope it's seared in our players' minds too. And so that's another thing is I'm hoping that some of them reflect back on just how painful that was and say
that was horrible.
We've got to make this right. We've got to go and do something. So that's why they bring a little bit of extra motivation to this match to say like, okay, we've got to correct what happened in the past.
Right. So, all right. Guys,
no, wait. One thing before you go, I also was just gonna say, I watched. I was watching this series on Amazon called Small Acts. This is a bunch of different movies about like the West Indian community in London, like back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and it was made by Steve McQueen, who did like 12 Years a Slave and stuff. Right. And come to find out, he's a Tottenham supporter. So my question is, when are you going to get Steve McQueen on this? on this chat, Tim. Did you reach out to his agent?
I will try and reach out to him and hear what he's got to say. Right, guys, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Those of you watching, don't forget to tune in to us. Give us a like, share our video. Don't forget to subscribe by hitting the logo on the bottom right. We had Ian from Tottenham representing the blue corner. Thank you very much, Ian. We had Josh representing Man United in the red corner. USA versus UK. Thank you very much, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. So we'll see you guys very, very soon. So that is where we are. But it's been an absolute pleasure.